The heavyweight division of the 1990s was in a second golden era. The first era was punctuated by the likes of Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and Big George. A strong cast of supporting characters made any given title defense into a classic.
Left in this round. Well-legged and hurt. And Foreman is foul!
By the 1990s, a new crop of contenders had solidified around a new core of great champions. The 1990s triumvirate of greatness was Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, and Lennox Lewis. Mike became a generational cultural figure. But by the time Evander and Lennox were truly maturing as fighters, Mike had already burned himself out. Evander Holyfield's first boxing lesson was very simple.
I want you to run out there as fast as you can and hit him in the nose.
He took it to heart.
Loose with that ferocious left hook.
He hit that man in the nose in the Olympics and was disqualified for it.
Handling the setback.
He hit Dwight Muhammad Qawi in the nose a ton to win a cruiserweight title in just his 12th professional fight.
But his money that he wanted to fight, he's going to war with Dwight Qawi. With a strong left to keep Qawi's out, coming forward towards Holyfield. Holyfield out strong in the early part of the round. Teeing off on the head of Qawi. Evander Holyfield!
He hit Buster Douglas dead in the nose after missing an uppercut to win his first of many heavyweight championships.
Because a lot of people felt that I couldn't do it because I was a small man. If you work hard, train hard, and work at anything, you can be successful.
Evander was the smaller man in almost every fight.
Size up Evander here to see how he would do against better opponents. Watch and see what about his defense. Shelby may be ready to go.
But his versatility was massive.
Still on his feet.
He could jab and move or crouch into the inside game with equal comfort.
Punching left there by Evander Holyfield. But Stewart showing he can take it. Evander, real deal, Holyfield.
Across the pond was a giant child born in London to Jamaican parents. When his parents split, Lennox Lewis's life got uprooted. He moved with his mom to Canada. He was a huge stranger in a strange land. It was basketball and boxing where Lennox found his home. He was 6'5" with an 84-inch wingspan. He was coachable and hated to lose. The summer after taking his school to a state championship in basketball, a barely 19-year-old Lennox Lewis represents Canada in the Olympics for boxing. He came home without a medal, but 4 more years of seasoning saw him best Riddick Bowe to win gold in the '88 games. With that, Lennox returned to the UK to begin his pro career. It didn't take long for Lennox's length and power to become his calling card. He was the type of fighter to throw 10 jabs for every power punch. He'd land 6 of those jabs flush, and the power shots landed with a terrifying echo. Lennox inevitably left his early opponents on the wrong end of a growing highlight reel of knockouts.
Down again, and the referee's seen enough. Oh, what a right uppercut, and another one, and a right, and down Williams goes. That was impressive. Is he going to get up from that?
Following it with power punches. There's a right hand, and down goes Jackson.
What are your thoughts about Holyfield versus Bowe and your opportunity to fight the winner?
I believe that, Holyfield, I give him the edge because he's a boxer and he's a workaholic. But before I said I was knocking at the door, I kicked down the door tonight. I'm coming after Holyfield.
Let's see what happens here as we start the heavyweight championship of the world, round one.
Back in the States, Evander Holyfield hit Riddick Bowe in the nose enough times to win a Fight of the Year award.
Joe Cortez trying to stop the fighters, and war is broken out in the middle of the ring. And this one, there's the combination punching Holyfield, but Bowe working out.
I feel that Bowe should be definitely on the outside.
And a right from Holyfield.
But not enough times to keep his championship.
Holyfield trying to put Bowe down. The final seconds of the 10th round. And Holyfield, of course, must sense that his title's in trouble here. And he has 2 rounds. And he just absorbed the shot from Bowe again. Holyfield got so brave, they got into the big left hook. And to the end, Riddick Bowe throwing excellent combination. And new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe!
I'm not afraid of you, Lenny. And we're going to get it on. I owe you one.
Okay.
You're not the man I thought you was. You lied on me. I thought we was cool.
Yo, bring it on, man.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to bring it. You ain't said nothing but a word. Freddie Ryder was afraid of you.
I'm going to knock you out.
You was a chump. You ain't going to knock nothing out, boy.
I'm going to knock you out.
You ain't going to knock nothing out.
You know I'm going to
knock nothing out. You know what? Do it, man. Do it,
The
man.
WBC ordered Riddick Bowe to defend his title against their #1 contender, Lennox Lewis. Bowe left the WBC belt in a trash can and opted to book the Holyfield rematch.
Let's get it on!
Holyfield is setting things up for a good right hand.
He's doing a lot of headhunting.
Yeah.
Right hand by Bowe.
With a real Olympic champion. You just can't clown with certain guys.
Holyfield lands a right on the target. And a left hand for Holyfield. And they swing after the bell. And look at this.
Muhammad Ali, I wasn't in shape, but I said I could whip this old guy.
Stuns Bowe again.
A bizarre incident occurred to punctuate another classic when a fan with a fan tried to crash into the ring.
And somebody in a parachute has just landed on the edge of the ring, has been pulled away by security guard. Round 10, a bit of a lull now. Right hand by Holyfield inside, rocks Bowe back.
But he shouldn't try to go for the knockout. Just land the shot. He could.
Holyfield leaning forward against the major power of Riddick Bowe. That uppercut, and knocking Bowe's mouthpiece out with a left hook. Promised his followers a knockout in this fight. Now he is fighting to survive, or so it would seem. They fought the fight of the year.
Holyfield would win 2 of his titles back, but in his next fight, he lost a strangely listless decision against Michael Moore.
The first thing Evander said was, well, he's left-handed. Now,
Holyfield is tired. Chin that just doesn't lead into more punches on it. Evander.
Later that year, Holyfield and Riddick Bowe finished their majestic trilogy.
Riddick Bowe by 1 point. Larry, I gave Evander an extra point in round 6 with a knockdown, but I still scored that other end, round 5, 9-9. I scored it even. I'll tell you, this is tremendous stuff.
Hard right hand inside by Holyfield, and now down goes Evander.
A right hand
by Bowe.
A right hand inside.
Third knockdown of Holyfield's career. Here comes the fourth, and that's it.
Once again, they even exceed the highest expectations we had.
But by the mid-90s, Evander is widely regarded as one of the best fundamental fighters in heavyweight history. Lennox was awarded the WBC title and defended it as champion. It went well until Lennox ran into a mind as sharp as his own.
I never saw him go a left hook, but he did try one already in this fight.
Oliver McCall was supposed to be an easy fight, but his trainer, a man named Manny Stewart, saw a serious technical flaw in Lennox's style When he jabbed, his offhand dropped just the tiniest bits.
When he jabs, how you know you're blocking and you're throwing a hook? Keep doing it because it's not landing, but it's moving him out off balance. That's right, but you're moving him out balance when you throw that shot, okay?
You were right hands in the first round, and we've seen it before, Gil.
Oliver and Stewart were convinced a well-timed left hook was the key.
Are we going to see you again, Lennox?
Yes, I may be down, but I'm not out.
After the fight, Lennox fired his trainer and immediately hired on Manny Stewart. Holyfield had his defining nights in the ring with Mike Tyson.
He's trying to smother Mike by actually getting too close.
Wild swing and a miss by Tyson.
Every time you get close, he can't fight inside with Mike. I don't think anybody can.
The first fight in November of '96, Evander was a blacksmith.
Evander's zeroing in on a big shot.
Tyson is confused.
He spent all night hammering Iron Mike.
Holyfield has always known in the past what tools to bring to a fight.
It was a vicious, ruthless war that the underdog Evander won nearly every second of.
First real sign. Oh, a straight right combination.
Until he finally closed the show on Tyson in the 11th. The second fight with Mike may have cost him an ear.
Some anticipation as before the first fight is almost palpable. Here we go, fight 2, round 1.
That's the jab Mike didn't have in the first fight.
What happened here?
He got bit, I think.
Evander Holyfield, look out, he's pushed right here. Above us by Tyson.
But there was no doubt that Evander was better than the post-prison Tyson he faced. With the Tyson problem on the back burner, Holyfield and Lennox eyed the first title unification since Riddick Bowe left the belt in the trash. The politics and finances took time to work. In the meantime, each man set about avenging losses that stuck in their craw. Lennox Lewis sort of won a deeply weird rematch with Oliver McCall.
This is a bizarre display. He's not even looking at Lewis as he walks away.
As far as you know.
He has found God in his life. That's his new mechanism for attempting to deal with all the problems that have haunted him in the past. Tuesday, he told a group of boxing writers, I'm going to retire after this fight. It's not godly to train for a long period of time to go out and try to hurt another man.
During which McCall broke down crying.
That's going to be it.
While Evander put a 5 knockdown beating on Michael Moorer to avenge the loss.
He continues to come forward, and could this be the end? Moorer in dire trouble. 40 seconds ago, right up the top, down he goes again. That was blocked partially, but there it goes again. Combination. Indeed. Look at that, right up to the chin by Holyfield. Oh, down he goes for the 5th time.
Evander, the real deal, Holyfield.
By early 1999, the deal is done. The pair meet in Madison Square Garden, each a champion in a sport where there is only supposed to be one. There wasn't much mystery behind each man's tactics. Lennox wanted to use his length to jab Holyfield's head off, while Evander tried to dig his head down into the inside and put the big lad on the ropes.
The puncher's gloves. It's like a pillow. Holyfield landed a left hook inside and lands a right hand, and Lewis is stunned. Evander attacking.
The dynamic was set.
What it is, right hand right there.
Right cross landed flush for Holyfield. Lewis seeming
Lennox gave ground and took angles, walking the American into punch after punch while making the absolute most of his 84-inch wingspan.
Lewis is taking advantage of his height advantage. Holyfield blocking, Lewis punching. To the body, George, but reaching to do so.
He stayed away and left Holyfield with no option but to march straight in, trying to close the gap. By the time Evander could get his punches off, Lennox was already gone.
Left hook partially blocked. Uppercut again. Acting like a matador. He stand, jab. Just get a little closer and stay closer.
Round after round, the punch totals piled up. It was clear that Lennox was running away with it.
Right hand stops Evander. He's been past 8 rounds 10 times in his career. Lewis this right hand up and just circle Holyfield to his right.
Holyfield had to rush while Lennox was taking his sweet time and creating angles.
Here comes the Holyfield rally. Here comes the indomitable. Yeah, well, it's like Larry says. It's Lewis's tactical skill that's winning the fight for him. Championship of the world.
Biggest anti-climax dramatically since the impeachment.
As the final bell sounds, even the nationalistic American fans had to concede the night to the big lad from across the pond. But in a decision that only added to New York's crime rates, the judges called it an outrageous draw.
That's a travesty.
While an 8-figure payday seems fair for a night's work, Lennox deservedly felt robbed. He outlanded Holyfield more than 2-1. The boxing world erupted with righteous indignation and demanded an immediate rematch.
It was a terrible decision. Anybody can see the fight, and I normally don't even complain, even the Thomas Hearn Sugar Ray Leonard #2 fight. But this fight is really what's hurting boxing. Every time we try to move boxing forward and make a great fight of some type like this kind of crap that comes on, well, Evander only won 3 rounds out of 4 at the most.
It's the last mega fight of the 20th century.
Are we about to see the sad death of a great king, or yet another of his resurrections?
Touched him up inside with a little right uppercut as the result.
The second time around, even Evander knew that something had to change.
Smart. He jabbed Lennox Lewis right in the chest. Right off the round 1 results, you get the impression it's a better Holyfield already.
He couldn't afford to wait on Lennox to tire out. He needed to get some damage done if he could hope to hang with the bigger man.
Try to do some work. And don't allow this guy to get the distance again. It's George, so I wouldn't have to remember him. Hard right hand by Cleanest punch of the bout so far. Lewis is bending down, and Holyfield landed the left.
He went back to his first boxing lesson, determined somehow to hit that tall man in the nose.
Early on. You know what? He's good left hook. Solid left hook by Holyfield. All his for the taking. He had no idea he would have to fight for this title. There. Holyfield with the right hand and Lewis with his own right hand. There and it hurt Lewis. Hard left hook by Holyfield.
While Holyfield was much more effective and aggressive in the second time around.
Combinations. Hard right hand by Holyfield.
Once again, it's Lennox's lance of a jab that made getting inside a rare opportunity.
Gage looking much more confident than he did. Fires a right hand back and goes to...
Holyfield was getting hit back. When Holyfield did get close, Lennox made the sound decision to land one and clinch up.
Lennox.
While each man had success landing power shots,
Back down anybody. Uppercut lands for Lewis. But will Lewis take advantage of it? Multiple punches for Lewis. Holyfield not throwing back. Fires the right.
Lennox's jab looked as good as any man in history. It was sharp, quick, and deadly accurate. Once again, It was the single most important punch thrown.
Evander with a lot of energy here in the 12th. Lennox seeming to try to load one big shot. Now gone. Right hand.
When the final bell rings, the world is pretty sure it just saw Lennox repeat the feat and beat Evander Holyfield a second time.
And the fans appreciate it.
Tonight, thankfully, the judges saw fit to put their contacts in before they came to the venue.
Champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
This time, Lennox was declared the rightful winner, an undisputed heavyweight champion. It was as undisputed champion, Lennox Lewis would eventually retire. He was never truly embraced the same way his American counterparts were in their careers. He didn't have Tyson's over-the-top personality. He didn't have the back catalog of vicious wars that Holyfield did. Evander fought on for over a decade after these nights, determined to hit whoever was in front of him right in the nose. But since the passing of Emanuel Stewart, Lennox Lewis might just be the most knowledgeable man in all the world when it comes to the Tao of fighting tall.